Okay, now, so now we will get into technical details. We will get more into the technical details going forward, but the very first thing is DNS records, right? DNS records, basically every time you send an email or you try to visit a website, a DNS records get hit to ask if the email has come from the right person, from the right email service provider, and a bunch of stuff. And they do it via something called authentication, and that's DKIM authentication, SFP, I think it's SPF, I wrote it wrong, it's DMARC and BIMI, right? Basically, if you set up the DNS records correctly, 50% of your email game is done. It's done perfectly well, right? So setting up DNS records is important. Where does these DNS records exist? And these exist in the where you have registered the domain, or where the client has registered the domain. Could be GoDaddy, could be Namecheap, could be BigRock, could be anything, right? Could be Google domains. Every time an email goes, the ESP checks hits back to the domain name server to see if from the footprint where the email is coming from matches what the DNS record says. Okay, they should match, only then it will go into inbox. Otherwise, you can spoof your email IDs, right? And I did a video called 100 how to send 100,000 cold emails. So go see the video. I talked about spoofing in that video also. Also, if you're not set it up, your whole email campaign will go wrong. You're starting on a wrong foot, right? Like, it's wrong. It's just wrong, right? If you're someone senior, what you can do is you can go into MX Toolbox, and MX Toolbox you can put the domain name where you have set everything up, and they have this. Let me see if I can show you guys this. Okay, so under MX Toolbox, so I put, for example, BizAmps.com, and I put MX lookup, right? Now what happens is, the thing you want to look at is this drop down tool, right? And you can see multiple lookups that you can do. That BizAmps does everything for emails, right? You can see which email IDs they have set, if DMARC is there and stuff like that, right? So yeah, if you're a senior, go check. If the person says I've set up the DNS records, so go check it over here. Again, when we are sending emails, right, a lot of our email reputation, email ID's reputation, everyone tracks. The server that is sending the email, that tracks. The server which is getting the email, that tracks. Basically, they see how many of the emails that this person sent actually get bounced, right? And it's the reason for that is, like, you don't call on wrong numbers, right? Similarly, you don't email on wrong email IDs. So if you are sending a lot of emails to wrong email IDs, that means you're not sending it to your friends. Basically, the number of emails that bounce is a reflection on if you're sending an email to your friends, or have you purchased a list and sending them email IDs to emails to those email IDs, right? So make sure basically it shows the data quality you have, and if there's is more than 1% bounce rate, then basically it will reduce your reputation of your email ID drastically, right? Incorrect way is if you're seeing that in your live campaign. So before the live campaign, you basically send emails from a disposable email ID and see which emails are bouncing and remove them. So you're only sending emails to the correct email IDs, right? In the live campaign, you have to make sure that your bounce rate is less than 1%, right? So, and for a person above the person who is doing the campaign, you can basically take a look at the bounce rate, and most email tools will tell you the bounce rate. And if it's more, something has went wrong in place above or place before, right? Next is custom first lines. So what happens is, so for example, you're going to United States to do your marketing or prospecting. What you will see is, if you start sending LinkedIn messages, most of your LinkedIn invites won't get accepted, right? So how will you send the LinkedIn message? If you start calling them, right, what you will see is 90% of them will go into voicemail, and even the voicemail or switchboard, And even if it's on switchboard, it will go to the voicemail of switchboard, and you will actually talk to 4 or 5 people max out of 100 people that you've called. So that's also a bit of wastage of effort. So one of the things that works is cold email, and over there it's very important that you do not copy paste the email, because you only got one shot, right? And if the person sees okay, the email is just a copy paste, he's gonna mark you as spam, and he's never gonna see a follow up email from you ever again. So it's important to make them feel that this email is only for you, and that person is important, and this email is not a copy paste email. So because of that, we take a look at every LinkedIn profile and we write a custom first line that the person says, okay, this person has looked into me. It's not just a spam email. It might be a cold email, but it's not a spam email, right? So we internally call it lead lines, right? First lead lines. So yeah, with that, the chances of getting marked as spam decreases. Also, what you have to make sure is the mail merged field, right? When you're sending the email, you use mail merge field, right? That field is working properly, right? And the way to check it is, of course, send an email to yourself or to your internal team and see if it is working correctly, right? Also, see the sent messages and run your first lines via Grammarly or a grammar checking tool, because we can mess up the grammar, and that could also be a turn off for a customer who is at a high level and he's very good at English, right? Last is to acquire an email database. So this is a bit different. Acquiring a database is, you could be buying a database. So how do you buy a database? You look at, talk to vendors, you Google stuff, right? And then you check the validity. Or you combine multiple strategy. You buy a database, get it from LinkedIn, you get it from scraping GitHub or a different website, and then you combine it, right? When you're building this, you have to consider multiple things. You have to consider, what you can do is, let's say from LinkedIn, you get all the information on the person. Then you put them through data enrichment tools like Find That Lead or Lucia, right? Or Clearbit. And what happens is they give you the email ID. So now you have the person's email ID and the person's details that you got from LinkedIn. Now you take that company name and you scrape some other part from another website. Maybe you go to Crunchbase and you scrape that, and using VLOOKUP you combine all that database. Now you have a lot more information. But also you will also get an idea of how much time it will take. In the first go, you will not know how much time it's going to take. So you're going to estimate, and that's fine. But basically you will know how much time it's going to take me to build a strategy, so that I can set personalized email, or the mail merge field does not need to be only the first line needs to be personalized. You can personalize 1,000 things, right? So when you can build or acquire or combine all these databases, you will have a certain level of independence. Okay, now you will be number crunching. Okay, if let's say my reply rate is 1%, and I need to get 100 replies a month, then how many email IDs do I need? Are there that many email IDs? If not, I need to build a data building function in the company or with the client, right? So this is a very cool thing, by the way. Also, so sometimes also, if you don't know where to get the correct database, right, what will happen is the people who you are marketing to, where your market strategy is, target market strategy, they will be wrong. These people, what the offering you're sending to this person will not be right. So for example, if I am a young guy and someone is sending me information on, I don't know, baby healthcare products, it won't resonate with me, right? So that's why you have to make sure whoever you are emailing, right, is the right target market for the offering that we are promoting. The way to do it is, when you have your email database, you go check the LinkedIn profile of these person, or put them in Google and see who these people are, and are they the right fit or not. Okay, now level 3. Now I personally think this is the launch phase. This is actually not still the rubber has not hit the road. It will be in the level 4, but this is when you have actually started to learn B2B outreach, B2B marketing, and stuff like that. So when you're setting the cold email software, you need to know this is our main attack tool, right? This is where most of the stuff will happen. This is kind of the most potent tool that comes, right? So you have to make sure that it is set correctly, because if you don't do it, in the first 2 weeks you will know that your campaign will not work, right? So cold email software is like Mailshake, Clientele, Lemlist, and then reply.io, Outplay. There are multiple tools that do that. And we also have the plan internally, but you can just go on YouTube and find them. So how to set up Mailshake, how to upload them, how to set the sending calendar, and you can just put it on YouTube and find these videos. Some of our videos are not public because it's for internal or only client purposes. But yeah, uh, dig down the rabbit hole, right? This is where you actually go searching. Before, I have not tell you go down the rabbit hole, but this is where you actually try to learn the principles of everything. You have to set up the DNS correctly, and this is also if you are a senior who is checking the work of a junior. Check the DNS via MX Records. Check the sending calendar. If the person is sending 500 emails the first day, you're gonna get banned, right? There's no question about it. See if the email alias is correct, if the signature is correct, the email that is going is from the right person, right name. Right? See if the custom fields are set right, the mail merge fields, and actually see what the sending output is. See what the sheet headers are. So when you're uploading the email list, you basically upload an Excel file, a CSV. See if the headers are fine and it works with the custom fields, right? And they're consistent, right? Um, Second thing is, so cold email software is they basically use, if you don't know, they use Google Apps on Microsoft G Suite or Outlook, right? And there the signature, the server that we're using or the IP we're using of is a Google or Outlook. And even if you click on the email that you get and there's a drop down button in Gmail, you can see this. You can see what is the who signed this email, right? You can see Google G Suite apps or Outlook apps, and that's where we get our reputation, and that's personal email ID, and that's why the open rates are higher. We don't end up in promotions or updates folder. We actually end up on in primary, right? So the second part of that is the mass email tools, right? These are actually signed by SendGrid or MailChimp or tools like that, where what happens is it's signed by an email promotional tool. So most of these email either end up in updates or promotions folder, right? But also if the client or if you have free content or other kind of leverage like a free trial or stuff like that where people can click and explore more, then this becomes really important, because where there you can get a click and then you start to retarget them with ads, right? Right. Also, you need to know that this. So, if you let's say you're sending, if you're trying to scale cold email to 100,000 a month, doing only via G Suite or Outlook will take you multiple accounts, right? But over here, via these mass email software, you can just do it very easily. But of course, the open rates will be 1/4 than what you get in the cold email software, right? So it does not take you much time to scale to 100,000 emails, right? If you have a big database, this could be a parallel option along with the mass cold email, right? Ideally, the open rate over here should be 20 to 40%. If it's less than, I would say 10%, or in very high level geographies, less than 5%, redo everything, redo the setup, scrap everything, right? The way to quality check if you're a superior in this case is ask them to send the email on Mail Tester, Glock Apps, MX Toolbox, like I told you, and see where see what the ratings these people give. You can just they basically have all of these have an email ID where you can send your email, and they will review your email and give you a number or tell you where the problem is, right? So then again, can you? But if you are a person, right, rather than your manager doing this, can you do it, right? And the reason to do it is the question I ask is, can you play football blind? And almost no, right? Pretty much no. And the reason for that is, how will you hit the ball if you don't see where the ball is, right? Similarly, how will you correct your email setup if you don't know if your emails are going in the right place or not, right? And not doing it is stupid ignorance. Could be on both on the part of the person who is sending the email, could be the manager part, could be in everyone's part. So just don't do this. Micro workers. So micro workers, we have this secret idea in BizAmps where we get micro workers to basically reply to our emails and report our emails not spam if they're ending up in spam folder. And what happens is the email service providers note, because people are actually finding their emails correct, they're reporting and not spam, and they're replying to the emails and they're engaging with the email. So our email reputation goes up, right? So this is a classic way of how you can use internet and the effect of labor that is on the internet, right? So this is to manipulate email service providers, AI. Uh, so basically, sometimes the worst thing you can do is you can set this thing up, but you can only ask them to report it, not spam, which is leaving money on the table. You can, what I would suggest is when you're getting these micro workers on websites like Rapid Workers or Pico Workers, ask them to click on the link on the email, ask them to reply. And if you're a manager, it's very easy. So from whichever email ID is getting warmed up, go check the replies from the micro workers. If they're not, if the person is saying I have run the campaign and there are no replies on the email that you're trying to warm up, something has gone wrong. Okay. So by the way, today I'm going to just take you to level 5 only, level 4, level 5. Next things you can pause and take a screenshot, level 3, level 4, right? But today I'm going to just do this. Otherwise it's going to be really, really long video. Could be boring also, right? Other than if you're like me, I like the stuff. So the next thing is, okay, you have set everything up and you set it up with perfection, right? Now what happens is there is a huge chance that most of your emails are starting to go in the right folder, right place. But over time they start to dip. Your email rates start to decrease. Now, do you know how you can improve the email rates? By changing the subject line, by doing warm-ups like running micro workers and stuff like that. So this is the key thing, because this is where we will understand how much do you understand email marketing, the reputation, how much problem solving expertise do you have, right? Uh, and also, if you have set up the email, by the way, especially if you work with us, if you have set up the email for an email ID, then it's your responsibility to also manage their open rates. So it's not that Akshat have asked me to set up the email ID and set up the whole campaign. I set it up and now it's not my fault. No. If you have set it up, you know the most about it. It's always your responsibility to see, okay, Akshat, open rates are going down, let me increase them, right? Or for a client. Because it's your baby, it's your responsibility after setup also. It's very easy. Most email softwares give you the numbers of how many emails got open, the percentages, so numbers don't lie, right? Next thing is, do you know how to set up Adroll and CRM campaigns? There's another video on my YouTube channel. Go check this thing out. But this is especially done when a client, or if your website is getting a lot of traffic from organic sources or other sources, and you don't have retargeting set up, because it's a very low cost, high value thing if you have a lot of traffic, right? Because it's a very aggressive form of advertising, and you can upload your email list to it, and you cannot upload your email list to Google Ads, but you can upload it to Adroll, but it will start to show you and it will upload it to Google Ads, right? And then you start doing via this. Also, only spend $5 a day. If you're spending more than that, and there's no reason to spend more than that, you're not getting more leads, more clients, then don't do it. You're doing something wrong, right? Next is lead nurturing. So one of the things that happens is, so once we get a once we get a client and we start to generate leads, people have started to interact with them. They started to book demos and everything. What happens is there is a committee that forms. So only Akshat would not buy. The 3 people on Akshat company that he or she will discuss, or there's probably a person above Akshat that he needs to actually get his approval. So in that case, what you can do is you can set up an email drip campaign to all those people using the cold email software, or using a software like SendFox or MailChimp, right? They have automation thing. Over here, what happens is these people also start to get to know the benefits of the product uh, that you're selling, right? So when the someone in their team comes to talk to them about this, they already have some level of interest about that stuff, right? They have some amount of level of knowledge, even if it's in 30% of cases. But then again, something is better than nothing, right? So it is to convert leads to meetings, to opportunities, to sales, right? You can also drip it to the same person who have booked a demo to inform more them about other things that your product or offering does. Secondary thing is, it lowered the objections, and you can loop in committees like I told you if there are other people in the team. that will be taking a buying decision for the product or your offering you're trying to sell. You can put them in the email nurture campaign, right? If you're not automating it, then that's bad. Automate it, right? It's a low value activity. Automate it. Make sure there's a reply to email ID address. Don't put it like a no reply email, right? People should reply to it, right? And last but not least, make sure the tech setup is not bad. I have discussed it, setting up the DNS correctly and checking the email IDs, right? So one way to do a quality check is when you create the drip campaign, put the client's sales team and your internal people in the drip, and they will give you the feedback, what's right, what's wrong, right? Okay. Last not least, can you improve email and LinkedIn reply rates or cold calling reply rates? Because this is now so above everything was technology. Now this is psychology. Now this is something uh, you have to see another video of mine on copywriting. But basically what this is where you become a lead generation expert. This is where you have started to master the niche, because now you understand technology and psychology, and now you can use it to generate demand for the offering that you are promoting. And by the way, if you know, when the demand goes up, the prices go up, and the business whose prices go up usually make a higher profit, right? um, and by the way, this is the first thing. So whoever the client is, whoever the check writer is, right, could be your boss, could be a client. This is the thing they're gonna look. They're gonna look how many people are replying to your emails, right? They're not gonna see open rates. They're like, okay, open rates are fine. They're an indicator, but how many people are replying? How many people are actually having conversations with us? Because at that time you have started to do your job good, right? Dig down the rabbit hole of YouTube, learn more about the stuff, right? Learn, and the two things that you can improve is always, if you're a QA person, see if the copywriting is in sync. There are 9 steps of copywriting. I have another video on that. And then see if the target market is right. If the both things are right, it should work. And then it's a game of A/B testing until everything works. Okay, cool. I hope this gives you great idea on what skills you need to uh, actually generate leads.